bruh, bruh, bruh. Hey kids, remember the video games you used to play back before you knew about the unceasing march of time and how we're upborn a strided grave and each breath you draw brings you closer to your last? Well, you're in luck. We're playing one of those games today because it's Throwback Thursday.
Hey everybody, it is time to take a look at a classic DOS game from back in the day. You see that witch going across the screen? That means Apogee, and Apogee means quality. Just the same way that Activision meant it's going to be a fun game on the Atari 2600, Apogee meant that it's going to be a fun game on DOS. 100%. I've never played an Apogee game. I've played all of the Apogee games from back in the day. Not a one of them that I would say, well, this isn't any fun. Some of them are slightly more fun than others, but my God, this is a company that was firing on all cylinders back in the day, and they're still technically around, you know. They developed such things that you might know, such as Duke Nukem. Yeah, that's right. They eventually became 3D Realms, in case you did not know. So Apogee has been a name in the business to be reckoned with for a long, long time. The game was made by Frank Madden, who, you know, made awesome things for Apogee back in the day. So cool, good, awesome, yes. And this game had all the things, whereas some of those early Apogee games were, you know, CGA, and with, you know, PC speaker type noises. This one is EGA graphics, 16 brilliant colors, and you got your ad-lib type musics, and your sound blaster type sound effects and whatnot. It is a, you know, this is what big budget games were back in the day. And so, yeah, this is awesome. It was released as a 3-part game, 3 episodes. Apogee's way of releasing games back in the day was to release 3 episodes, typically. The first episode would be free as shareware, and they would get you hooked. I played this one as shareware for years. Then, once upon a time, I came across a CD in a thrift store that was like, hey, do you want all of the Apogee games in full, glorious commercial release form, not the shareware form, and just all of them on one disc? And I was like, yeah, I would like that. And I was like, Goodwill, how much do you charge for such things? And they're like, $1. So yeah, if you can find that disc, do. It is well worth it. You can find them out there. You hit the electronic bay and see what you can find, or go search up your local Goodwill. Who knows? But I got this game first as shareware, and I played the ever-loving crap out of it. You know, hit the end where they're like, you want to play more? You're going to have to buy more. I was like, oh, come on. Yeah, that's how it was back in the day. Things were harsh for those of us with no money, and I had none. But I did get to play this game quite a bit. Eventually, I had a friend who had a full version, and then we did what you do, which is floppy disk. There you go. Chuck it on a floppy. And yeah, for the price of having received an AOL disk and put a game over it, oh, how many games did you own on AOL discs with the label badly torn off, like half of the label still stuck? Yeah, that's how we did back in the day. Thanks, AOL, for sending garbage. When they started sending CDs, that was, come on. No floppies anymore? Anyway, regardless, I eventually did play the full game, and it was glorious. Absolutely glorious, because the look, the feel, the vibe of this game is impeccable. This is horror, comedy horror. It's fun horror, you know, so it calls to mind such things that I personally love, such as your Abbott and Costello Meets movies. I recently rewatched Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and I'm going to rewatch Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy again sometime soon. I love those movies. Like, I really do. And I know that people will be like, well, you know, the Meet the Mummy is not one of their best ones. And, you know, the real good one is the Wistful Widow of Willow Gap, which is a real actual uh, Abbott and Costello movie, and also it's not my favorite, so shut up. Anyway, I don't know if it's anyone's favorite, but yeah. The thing of it is that when you mix horror with comedy, it's excellent. Always. Look at the Evil Dead movies, especially Army of Darkness. Look at the Abbott and Costello Meet the Universal Monsters movies. Look at, there was another one I was thinking of that was like comedy and horror, horror and comedy. Come on, brain, think of it. Brain is not thinking of it. But when you mix horror with comedy, it's gonna be a good time, and that's my favorite kind of horror, and also it's one of my favorite kinds of comedy. So, yeah, this game is all of that. You play as a little boy who lost his dog. You are Johnny Dash, and you have a slingshot, and you are making your way through the world, and there are zombies and skeletons and vultures, and, Ash's hand after it got into his hand and it went bad, so he lopped it off of the wrist. You know, that hand is still roaming around, causing trouble in this game. Lots of things. You're going to come across lots of baddies of a wide variety of types. I will apologize up front that the gameplay footage that I captured is not as good as what I would have liked. Because I was playing the game just fine, and then, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now. It's kind of a hectic week, and then it just got worse with some personal, family life drama and whatnot. It's problems. There are problems afoot, and pun intended, really, because someone I know and love broke their ankle badly. That's one of the things that went on. Broke their ankle badly, and in breaking that ankle, sprained the other one so hard that they can not use crutches. So that's a good time. That's just fun. And they did it out of town, so we had to transport their car back, and anyway, good times. Surgery is needed. Oh, such fun. My wife got pulled over on the way home, speeding ticket. Yeah, just nothing but joyous, fun events. So if I seem a little high-strung and scattershot, it's only because I'm high-strung and scattershot. So, yeah, you're trying to get your dog, but, the evil Count Chuck, who is like a Dracula-type dude, has captured all of the dogs and cats. And as you make your way through the level, you'll hear dogs barking, kitties meowing, indicating where the pets are, and you have to free all of the pets in order to make it to the end of the level. And that's the basic idea. You get power-ups for your slingshot, and you can get, there's lots of candy that gives you points, because points used to be a thing that mattered in video games, kids. Come on, don't discount points. Who cares about points in a game now? You be like, I scored 1,000,000 points in Skyrim. No, that's not a thing. But it used to be back in the day. And so you're picking up candy to increase your point values, you're killing enemies, you're trying to find all the things. There are always secret areas, hidden things that you did not know were there. The platforming can get a little ridiculous, especially when you're hopping on tree branches. Rather reminds me of Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2, where the tree jumping just killed me in that game, and ruined a lot of the fun that I wanted to have in it. But in this game, I forgive it because nostalgia heals everything. And I cannot look at this game objectively. I'm just telling you that up front. But yeah, as you're looking at this game, you're seeing that there's a fair bit of blood and guts, which is hilarious, but very much the same way that here's a fun Army of Darkness fact. So when Ash gets thrown in the pit with, the mean, nasty lady, trying not to swear and say the things that Ash says in the show that are hilarious and awesome. And if you've never seen Army of Darkness, get off your butt and watch Army of Darkness. It's only the greatest movie ever made. So, there's no reason why you would want to see it other than the fact that it's the greatest movie ever made. Anyway, but they did a blood fountain. And they only had one shot, which is, typical of how they made movies, those early Sam Raimi directorial efforts, where they're like, we've got one shot at this, and if it doesn't work, then we're screwed. And so they just overloaded this blood fountain, and they had no idea how big it was going to be. And then it was huge. It was massive. It was the biggest blood fountain ever captured on film. Still might be, for all we know. And it was hilarious. That's what it was. Um, but yeah, that's what it was. So
Cool.
great, such a great film, but also indicative of the type of gore. At the very opening screen, you get a blood wash when, Johnny shoots a zombie in the head and the head explodes in a fountain of blood. There's a surprising amount of blood in this game, even though, we didn't have ESRB ratings back in the day. We just played games. And so this game was about a kid. Kids played it. I was a kid when I played it, and there's a fair bit of gore in it. I mean, not a ton, but every time you shoot an enemy, there's blood and gore. Anyway, yeah, and I grew up to be a serial killer because video games cause violence. We know that. We know that for dang sure. Anyway, so I wonder if YouTube is going to catch that phrase. You grew up to be a what now? Sorry, I apologize. I was kidding. Anyway, so the gameplay is tight. It's it's arrow keys, Alt and Control. I do hit the Windows key on accident a couple of times, taking it out of full screen mode into windowed mode, and then that's a problem because then I gotta Alt enter it back in. Hopefully I will cut all of that out. I'm not trusting myself to do a good job on that, but I will try. I will try to make sure that you're not looking at my windows and whatnot.
Awesome.
But yeah, standard, that's how we played games back in the day. Arrow keys with your right hand and Alt, Control, Spacebar sometimes with your right hand. That's how we did. And yeah, that's the simple controls for this game. Control is jump, Alt is shoot, and arrow keys. And you can aim diagonally, and sometimes you need to get the those skeletons that laugh when you hit them and their eyeballs bulge out and whatnot. Because gore, but funny gore. Like Three Stooges. There's another one that's not horror, but it's violence and comedy. That's what the Army of Darkness guys, that's what Sam Raimi and everybody else, all of his cohorts, his brother and the incomparable Bruce Campbell, that's what they were inspired by, was the violence of Three Stooges. And the soul of that is in this game. And that is why I love it, is that it's comedic, horrific violence that is safe and it's fine. I would let my kids play this today, no question.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Because comparatively, this is pretty tame when you look at it. Back in the day, not so much. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward platformer, really, in a lot of ways. But the vibe of this game is so good. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Cannot get over how much I love this game. Every time I play it, it takes me back to a time and a place, and it's just unimpeachably great. That's all it is. It's just a great game, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, people, sorry that the footage isn't better. Sorry that a lot of things aren't better. Let me put a final score on it. So, final score-wise, we are going a 9 out of the possible 10 blood fountains from Army of Darkness. As you can see, barely, probably, because these are pretty small. You're going to have to look it up yourself. The blood shoots to the top of the frame, and according to the people who were there, it was at least twice as high as the frame they were filming. So we're talking 50 feet in the air of blood, something like that. An absurd blood fountain. One of the best things ever. Anyway, go watch Army of Darkness if you haven't, and also play yourself some Monster Bash. You can find it on GOG. You can find it in places where you get old DOS games, wherever that might be on the internet. I don't know where to send you to find old DOS games. Maybe Google it. See what you come up with. Anyway, or buy it on GOG because the guy who made the game is still around as far as I know. And, he deserves some love. Anyway, people, that's going to do it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.